Ladies and gentlemen, Arknights' Enfield first beta test keeps getting closer by the minute. And since the first announcement about the test, the game officials has provided us with plenty of information about the game, like new gameplay footage, playable character, and game lore. And in this video, I think it will be a fun idea to share some of the new lore that has been revealed, especially to those of you who missed it. But with that said, most information I will give to you here is available on the game official media, so you can check it there instead. And remember, the information is for the game beta test, so expect changes for the full release version, though I doubt the changes are going to be extreme. Alright, let's first start with the recent lore bits the game has revealed, and probably what Arknights fans have been waiting for a long time. And that is the confirmation of the time gap between Arknights and Enfield. So, in this lore bits, they talked about all sorts of things about Talos-II, the astronomical body in which Enfield takes place. To be more specific, Talos-II is the moon of a gas giant named Talos. But despite it being a moon, information from the technical test said that its people like to call it a planet anyway. The first part of the lore bits is where we got the big reveal. From Enfield time setting, 152 years ago, the pioneers from Terra managed to reopen something called Ether Gate and stepped foot on Talos-II for the first time, located countless light years away from Terra. From what I know, there's nothing called Ether Gate in Arknights, but it's most definitely the megastructure that is the main subject of IS-4. Because from the recent IS-4 story, we know that the people of Terra have come together to study and reactivate this megastructure. Not only that, in Enfield technical test trailer, Perlika also mentioned the pioneers from Terra use some sort of teleportation from the polar north of Terra to Talos-II.
The pioneers from Terra used the teleport in the polar north to reach this most alien place. A new land.
And to make things clear, the time gap between Arknights and Enfield is not exactly 152 years, but could be way more than that. It pretty much goes like this. Arknights' current main story is set in the year 1098, but some side stories are set beyond that, with the furthest one should be in the year 1101 or 1102. We do not know when they managed to reopen this so-called Ether Gate and made the first step on Talos. But we do know the first pioneers arrived 152 years ago from the time setting of Enfield. So, knowing this rough time gap between the two games, I'm sure we all have lots of questions. I personally really wanted to know how these characters, who really resembles Arknights characters, managed to be present in Enfield. Lavatane is the easy one. High chance she is the same Surtur, because Surtur is a Sarkaz that can have a long lifespan. Not to mention she is a vessel for a Farenmut, Arknight's godlike being. And yes, if she is Surtur, it means she is an old hag now. Gilberta, who resembles Angelina, is heavily implied to be Angie's clone based on the information from the technical test. As for Snowshine, who resembles Aurora, minus the shorter hair. It's pretty much unknown, but she could be in the same case as Gilberta. Moving on, there's a shocking reveal in Part 2. It mentioned that the Ether Gate has collapsed and left the migrated Terrans stranded on Talos, seemingly without a way to go back, or at least not yet. It was also mentioned that while Talos-II is habitable like Terra, there's still dangerous environment and creatures left and right. But despite the problem, for generations, these stranded Terrans and their descendants managed to survive and create numerous outposts and towns in this new world, creating footholds for civilization. Here in Part 3, we also know Talos has other natural satellites or moon, but only Talos-II is habitable. And considering Talos-II's unique position, as well as the presence of the Ether Gate on this moon, it is implied that Talos-II might have been visited and terraformed before the first people of Terra arrived. Perhaps by the docks people? Well, I suppose only time can answer. Moving to the other lore bits. This time mostly talks about Enfield Industries, the main faction of this game. Here we got a quick summary of this company. Nothing exactly new though, it basically said that Enfield Industries is an independent industrial and construction company. That has become an integral part in Talos-II expansion. Part 1 is where things get interesting. It is said when the first pioneers from Terra arrived, Rhodes Island and its partners jointly founded Enfield Industries. So yes, Enfield has pretty much existed since the first pioneers arrived. Rhodes Island is also not just a simple partner to Enfield like what we thought during the technical test, but Rhodes is its co-founder. I think that's what it's called. This part also mentioned Endmin. The Endministrator is mentioned to have led numerous geological survey teams and generated detailed maps for numerous frontier regions. The second part further mentioned how important Enfield Industries is to Talos-II future, due to Enfield's teleportation technology, AIC, which is what the factory automation side of the game is called, and orbital vehicle Dijiang, which is said to be the only orbital vehicle of Talos-II. Shifting to the last lore bits. This time it mostly talks about the Automated Industry Complex, or AIC for short. It's what the factory automation side of the game is officially called. It represents the successful miniaturization and modularization of industrial production. It was also mentioned that principles for AIC were already proposed even before the first pioneers arrived on Talos-II, and is regarded as the next revolutionary advancement of originium industries and production, compared to the old traditional way that requires an entire nomadic city plates. And after years of research and development, Enfield Industries, with the help of other factions, notably the UWST, managed to achieve a build capable of doing most production requirements. You can say they have finally achieved a satisfactory results for their brand new factory, yo. Then on the last part, it is said that the field deployment of AIC is now granted to none other than the Endministrator. Well, fellas, I guess that's all the new lore bits that we have obtained so far. Hope this helps you understand the Enfield story a bit more. And remember, the AIC must grow. That should be all. Adios.